Hi everyone, so welcome back to another DIY. Today I'm going to show you on how we're going to be drafting up this pattern. So don't worry, today we're going to be doing everything for you people to understand. So first thing I'm going to start with, I'll draw a straight line which is right there. It's going to be the start point. Right? Now what I'm going to do is, from this straight line, what I will do is to throw away at least 2 inch for my waistband. So I'm going to measure now from that 2 inch downward the hip depth, which mine is 8 inch. Then I'll go now to my crotch depth, which is round hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch. So my round hip is 38 divided by 4 is going to give me 9.5 plus 1 inch. 9.5 plus 1 inch, which is right there. Then now this pan is not a fitting pan, so I'm going to move all the way straight to the length which I'm going to be working with is 42. I'll be adding 1 inch for the hemming allowance. Once I am done doing so, I'll draw these points up with a straight line just like this, and I'm also going to do the same thing here. Draw it up like that, and I'm going to come here and also do the same thing, another straight line. So once I'm done drawing that straight line, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and put 1/4 of the hip. So my round hip I'm working with is 38 divided by 4 is going to give me 9.5. I'll go ahead now and mark it up right there, and I also mark that 9.5 right here like this. Once I'm done marking it up, I'll go ahead and connect it up with a straight line. The next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead, I will mark my cross extension. To mark the cross extension, what I'm going to do is I'll be taking 1/4 of the hip, which is 9.5 inch. I'm going to divide that into 2 right there, and I also go ahead and divide it again into 2. Whatever I have, I'm going to extend it off my cross extension. So what I have there, so remember 1/4 of the hip divided by 2, which is right there. Fold it up, then I'll go ahead and divide it again into 2. Whatever I have, I'm going to use it for the cross extension of the front. So I'm going to mark that point right there. Now that I'm done marking it up, I'm going to go up. You can do 3 inch, you can do 2.5 inch. I'm going to go up by 2.5 inch. Now, after doing so, what I'm going to do is at this point, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch. You can do 1/2 inch, you can do 1 inch. Let me do 3/4 inch. I'm going to go in by 3/4 inch, which is right there. Then what I will do is to go ahead and connect this up to make that point. So this is my point of 3/4 inch that I went down, which is right there, and 3/4 inch that I went inward. Now what I'm going to do is at this point I have to pull this up so you people should be able to see how I am connecting that part up. Sorry if I'm blocking the camera. Alright, sorry about that. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect this part up like this. You see what I'm going to do? I'm going to connect this part up to meet up that my 3 inch that I went up, making sure it is not too curvy and it shouldn't be looking that funny. All right, so you see what I've just done there, right? Now connect this point up to meet that 0.75 that I went in. Once I am done doing so, the next thing I want to do is to go ahead and pull it back. All right, and pull it back right there. So, sorry. Okay, so Okay, so I have connect this point up. Next thing we're gonna do is to go ahead and add up our dart allowance, and to be able to add the dart allowance, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be putting 1/4 of the, nipple to nipple divided by 2. So my nipple to nipple divided by 2, my nipple to nipple is 8 inch. 8 divided by 2 is gonna give me 4 inch. I will mark that 4 inch up. Where that ruler? Where I have kept, okay. So I'll connect it up like this with a straight line, just like that. Now that I am done connecting that part up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead now and mark a 1/2 inch both sides. So I'm going to place it up like this and mark my 1/2 inch, and also do 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to go down by 5 inch, or you can go up. You can do 5 inch, you can do 4.5 inch, okay? Or you can go up from the hip depth line by 2 inch. So I'll be doing let's just 4.5 inch. From that 4.5 inch, I'm going to go ahead and connect it to make that 1/2 inch that I did, like this. That is what we have now. What I'm going to do is to put 1/4 of the waist. I'm going to come here like this. I'll put 1/4 of my waist. The round waist I'm working with is 28. 28 divided by 4 is going to give me 7 inch. Then I took out a 1/2 inch for the dart allowance. I'm going to go ahead and add up my 1 inch. I will not be adding up my sewing allowance on this fabric, but remember always to go ahead and add up sewing allowance. So I'm going to go ahead now, connect this part to meet up the hip depth line, just like you can see me doing here like this. You can use your cuff, the French cuff, the cuff ruler, that's what I want to make, the pan curve ruler, that's what I mean to say. So now that I have done connecting this part, the next thing I'm going to do is, like I said, this pan is not a really fitting pan. It's kind of a little bit of palazzo. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to measure up whatever I have there, which is 12 inch. I will bring it down right there. Or I may have to go ahead from that 12 inch, I'll minus 1 inch from there. So I'll just minus 1 inch from there. I will mark it up. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my 11 inch all the way down. Depending on how palazzo you want it to be, you can go ahead and just do your work. So after which I've done this, so next thing I want to do is to go ahead now and connect this part up like this. Let me connect it with the straight line. Like that. So this is what I have for my pattern. Now let me go ahead now and draft up the back. This is our front pattern right there. We're going to be cutting this ×2. Alright, so I'm going to just pull this up like this, making sure I bring this other part in up, so we'll be able to draft the back from this. Normally we always use the back, we always use the front to draft off the back, but this time around I'm not going to be cutting it. I'll just cut everything as one. So let me quickly go ahead and clean that up. I'm pulling this up so I will be able to draft up the back for you people to really see very well. I don't mind cleaning everything upside down like that. Okay. Let me get a chance to press this up. Okay. You can make yours as wider as you want. right? Okay, now that we have that point, what I'm going to do simply is I'm going to have to just connect a straight line from here all the way down. Now this is what we're going to do. Here we're going to leave at least 2 inches at the top. Alright, 2 inches at the top. Now let's quickly go ahead and mark. So I'll minus 2 inches from my waistband. We're going to go ahead and mark the hip depth. Remember that we went down by 2 inches from here. Okay, I'm going to move now to the crotch depth, which is actually round hip divided by 4, which mine is 38 divided by 4 is going to give me 9.5. Then I'll add 1.5 inch to it. I'll move now to the length of this part, which I'm working with is 42. Yeah, 42 right there. Okay, but I added 1 inch, so I'm going to have to replace back that 1 inch that I added. Remember that we did slant this one down, so I'm going to have to add up that 1 inch for it to meet the other piece. Now once I'm done doing so, I'm just going to go ahead and draw straight line here. I'm also going to do another straight line here. Now that I'm done doing that straight line, we have the crotch depth line and we have the hip depth line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1/4 of the hip, which is 9.5, which is 38 divided by 4 is going to give me 9.5. I'm going to mark that up here. I also come here and mark that 9.5 right there. Now I will connect it up to a straight line just like this. After which I've connected it up with my straight line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the crotch extension of the back. Remember what we did for the front is we simply went ahead and divide 1/4 of the hip by 4. So 1/4 of the hip, which is this, divide it into 4. I'm going to fold on my tape, then I go ahead and fold it again into 2. And remember that the back is always longer than the front. So I'm first go ahead and make this point up here, and I'm going to go ahead and add at least 1 inch or 1.5 inch to it. So 1.5 inch, yeah, I'm gonna do 1.5 inch to it. So that is the crotch extension of the back. It is always bigger than what you have for your front, which mine is right there. Now that I'm going to do so, I'm going to go ahead and go up here by 3 inch like we did. I'll come here and go up by 3 inch. Remember I said you can do 2.5 inch. Here, I'm going to go in by 3/4 inch like I did for the front. 3/4 inch, go down. No, at this point we're not going down, okay? So we will not go down here. All right, so what I'm going to do is instead to extend this up here like this. At this point, extend it up by 1.5 inch for smaller boat. For somebody who is size 34, but if you're a bigger size, you can use 2 inch. So I'm going to go in, up here by 2.5 inch. Now, what I'm going to do is to connect this part to meet here and then bring it up here all the way to that part. So you still have to go ahead. Let's see. You still have to go ahead and connect this part up like this. So making sure that this part is not that curvy. It's not curvy, okay? It's not supposed to be looking funny. Sorry about that. So I just have to go ahead and reconnect that up. So I'm going to bring this part to meet up that 1.5 that I went up. All right. Then I'm going to slant it. Bring it to meet up this other point. Like that. So once I'm done doing so, you can see the back is being lifted up, okay, by 1.5 inch. Now, I'm going to go ahead now and add all my dart allowance So I'm going to put 1/4, I mean half of my dart allowance. So my dart is nipple to nipple divided by 2 is going to give me it's 8 divided by 2 is going to give me 4. I'm going to go ahead and mark the center line. From there, remember the back we did went up. We went down by 4 inch, but for the back we're going to do 5 inch. You can do 5 inch, or from the hip depth line you can just go up by 2 inch. Actually it's 2 inches. You can see this is 7 and then 5 is 2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark half inch both sides, half inch. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect it up like this, and I'm also going to do the same thing right there. Okay, now that we are done doing so, let's move now to the hem of the pant. We're going to have to connect it up to make all the way. Sorry. So I'm going to bring it up like that. Now, I have to go ahead and measure up whatever I have here. Now I'm going to measure it up. What I have there, remember what I have here is 13.5 inch. 13.5 inch. Yes, 13.5 inch. Yeah, 13.5 inch. Now I'm going to come down here like this. I will mark at least 12.5 inch, making it that I'm actually minus 1 inch from there. Then at the hem, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go ahead and mark that 11.5 or minus 1 inch from 12.5. All right. Then let's just go ahead and do connect. Yeah. Oh, it's not really straight. So why? What did I mark here? Here mark 11.5. Here is supposed to be 11.5. Okay, yeah. Here. Sorry about that, guys. Saying that it's not really straight, so we just go ahead and connect that line up to make it straight. Then this point we're just gonna bring it up here like this. Alright, so we're gonna reconnect that up. Now we have the back cut times 2. All right, so but we have not put the waist like we did for the front, so I'm gonna have to pull this up here. Now this is what we're going to do. We will come here and put 1/4 of the waist. So I'm going to put 1/4 of the waist. The round waist I'm working with is 28 divided by 4 is going to give me 7 inch. I'll replace back this 1 inch that I borrowed from there. I'm just going to come here and mark and correct it to make this point up. Like I said, this point you can either use your pan curve ruler. That's what I mean. So we have the both pieces. I'm hoping that my material is going to be enough for that. So what I'm going to do right now is just to go ahead and cut that up and cut it up. Now for me to cut it, where is that scissors? Where is my scissors? My paper cutting scissors. Yeah. I just touched that thing a few minutes ago. I was trying to sharpen it. Where is it? I can't find it, yeah? Paper cutting scissors. Is it not it that I used to cut this? Okay. Where is that paper cutting scissors, my friend? Yeah. So my village people sometimes when I need a pity me. So I'm quickly go ahead now and cut it. If I know it's going to wrap, because I did not iron this before coming here. So I did not iron my paper. You can see the way it's running, right? I was supposed to iron all this paper in blue, because I need to do something really quick. See the way it's running. So this is going to come here like this and cut. Here. So this is the front. I know that I was supposed to iron this. I added 1 inch to this part. Let me not go and forget, and then very soon it will be short. Here. I added 1 inch here at the end, because you know, since we did slant it down by 1 inch, we slant it down at least 2 inches. So we're supposed to add up our go ahead now and just cut. Sorry, my paper not here to show you. So I have my back piece. This is this one. Okay, this is my back piece. Here. I'll have to go ahead and press it up so that I should show you. And here is the front. Alright, so and the fabric I'm going to be using for this project is going to be crepe. Okay. You can see. It's just I'm being so lazy. This is the back of it, right? And here is the front. Don't mind the heavy is just rubbing up. If you notice, when I was drafting up this pattern, I only added up this part here, but I do not add my 1 inch here. So what I'm going to do is to actually add up that 1 inch when I'm cutting it, and also add up my sewing along. So like I said, the fabric I'm going to be using for this project is going to be crepe fabric, which I'm going to be using for it. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, comment, and share. I hope to see you some other time on the sewing tutorials coming out very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.